What's up, everyone? Thank you guys for tuning in to watch part 3 of this series. To recap, this is a series where I go through each class and detail what is expected of that profession in speedruns. For newer players, this information should give them a direction in what skills they need to work on. And for experienced players who might be used to another profession and are switching professions, this will kind of give them the finer points of what the profession does so that they can jump in and be sharp right from the start. In today's episode, I will be discussing the Thief. The Thief is a staple profession in the current speedrun meta. They provide the top DPS in the game, along with some valuable utility skills, all in one awesome package. Oddly enough, I started this series in response to a question where someone asked me, is Thief good in speedruns? And Thief is actually so good in speedruns, I figured everyone universally knew that. But in retrospect, I guess not. In any event, Thief is good in speedruns, provided you can do the things that thieves are expected to do. So let's get right into it. For a Thief, the most important thing you can do in a speedrun is bring DPS. Thief is the top DPS class in the game when played correctly, and the most important thing a Thief can do is master how to maximize that DPS. Mastering DPS mostly means mastering the rotation of Cloak and Dagger, Backstab, Auto Attack Chain, and then the first two auto attacks of the next chain, followed by a Cloak and Dagger, and then Backstab, and then repeat until the boss is at about 33% health, and then you will begin using Heartseeker until the boss is dead. So this sounds simple, and in many ways it is simple. It's really just two buttons, but the key to it is positioning, because Backstab you have to be flanking the enemy in order to get the bonus damage. Knowing the right place to stand for each boss where you can backstab freely and avoid being damaged is the key. And like I said, the rotation itself isn't complicated, but combined with positioning, it can be quite distracting enough to manage, where you might end up getting killed a lot. So a big part of the challenge of Thief is outputting their top DPS without getting squished in the process. And also, there's a lot of situations where a group will be stacked around a corner to LOS the mobs, and there's no obviously good place for a Thief to be getting their backstabs off. But I assure you, there usually is a place for a Thief to be doing that, and a way for a Thief to do it. It's just a matter of knowing each boss encounter well enough to know exactly where to stand to where you're not going to be compromising your DPS. So the next thing, a good Thief is expected to know when and how to stealth his party for trash runs. Your job is to know which trash runs the general community expects you to stealth people for, and which ones people typically do without stealth. A Thief has access to 3 sources of party stealth typically: Shadow Refuge, Smokescreen, and then blasts inside of Black Powder. So knowing the different times to use each of these is important. For example, Smokescreen and Black Powder both require blast finishers to use in order to get the stealth. And if you're surrounded by trash mobs, that just isn't going to work, because the blasts will aggro you and reveal you, and you don't stealth anyone that way. That's the situations when you must use Shadow Refuge. On the other hand, Shadow Refuge is quite slow. Basically, you have to stand still for the full duration of the field, and in order to get the full stealth, and those are significant amount of time where you and the team aren't advancing through the dungeon. You'll notice in most record runs for dungeons, teams almost never use a Shadow Refuge because of that very drawback. With a coordinated group, you can use Black Powder and have all 5 people use a blast finisher simultaneously and go without even stopping for a full second. In less coordinated groups, you're going to need Smokescreen and a lot of your own blasts in order to provide the necessary stealth. The Wise Thief player is good at gauging his teammates and being able to make the right call about which stealth enabler to use in which situations. The next thing I want to talk about for a good thief is to know that the most powerful thief skill in the game is not Shadow Refuge. It is not Backstab. It is actually Cluster Bomb. Cluster Bomb is the most potent source of blast finishers in the game. A thief can make 4 or 5 blasts in rapid succession on demand with Cluster Bomb. And no other blast finisher skill in the game is as spammable or as powerful. No other blast finisher skill in the game can do 5 finishers with 1 skill. It's just not, the game just isn't set up for that. A good thief is expected to know when to use this skill to provide whatever utility the team needs. In addition to blasting his own smoke fields for stealth, a good thief is expected to blast fire fields for might, lightning fields for swiftness, and even poison fields for weakness against particularly tough trash mobs. When considering the effects that 4 blast finishers in a fire field, or a lightning field, or a smoke field grants, no other skill in the game comes close to approaching the sort of utility that you can get out of Cluster Bomb. A good thief doesn't just wait to blast when he's asked. He anticipates what fields are going to be placed down and is prepared to blast them without asking, keeping team play in mind. So it's important to know when you see the Staff Ellie swap to air for a run that he's most likely going to drop a lightning field, and you should be ready to drop the Cluster Bomb. By the same token, right before a fight starts, you know the Elementalists are going to drop a fire field. You should be ready to spam Cluster Bomb to get might for the party. One of the next most important roles for a thief in organized groups is to be on top of keeping the trash mobs blinded. Between Smokescreen and, more importantly, Black Powder, the trash mobs in dungeons should inflict little to no damage to the party so long as a thief properly manages his initiative. If the party wipes to trash mobs who weren't blinded, people will blame the thief, and rightly so. Therefore, it's up to thief players to be conscious of when they're fighting especially dangerous trash mobs, and understanding that blinding in those situations is more important than maximizing your DPS. You should prioritize keeping Black Powder down 24/7 against particularly tough trash mobs, much more so than managing your own, than doing higher DPS attacks. It's much more important that your party's alive when fighting these difficult trash mobs, thanks to Black Powder, than it is for you to get in a few more 1,000 DPS. And so, the last thing I want to mention for the thief is to know when to use which healing skill. Signet of Malice, Hide in Shadows, and Withdraw each definitely have their own use and an optimal time to use them. Signet of Malice is very similar to Warrior's Healing Signet in how it works functionally, and it's pretty much considered by most thieves to be like the default healing skill, and it's the one that you keep on your bar in absence of any particular reason to use something else. Hide in Shadows, however, does have its uses. It is the biggest burst heal that thieves have access to, unless you're a human, in which case you can take prayers to Dwayna. But it's also useful in order to providing you the utility of extra stealth, and you don't need to have Shadow Refuge or a Blast for that. So it's quite good in that regard. And lastly, Withdraw is actually the best heal you can be using when fighting challenging bosses to melee, like Lupicus or Mossman or Archdiviner or Ginva in HOTW Path 1, as it heals you on a very short cooldown, a pretty decent heal, and it has a built-in evade, which makes it extremely valuable from a dodge management resource standpoint against bosses who have powerful auto attacks and can squish your thief easily. Once you know their attacks, you can manage your withdraw as if it was a third dodge frame, and you should be able to avoid being hit by almost anything. Make sure you are running the proper healing skill for each situation. So that's it for this episode and the Thief profession. If you have any questions or any tips to share, please hit me up in the comments. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great day, and be on the lookout for the next episode. Thanks guys, bye.